Recording in progress.
Welcome into the latest episode of the Betting the Pitch Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Real_G Warner, found across all social media platforms. Wherever you could look, you could find it. Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere you can. And if you are looking for this Apple podcast or Spotify podcast, if that's where you get your podcast, check out Betting the Pitch. If you leave a 5-star review, it's huge for the search rankings. We're going to go through a abridged version, some postponed matches due to the Pope's death in Italy, Serie A. We have a couple matches in English Premier League. We have Liga in Spain, a full calendar as they play Copa del Rey this weekend, and no Bundesliga, but we do have Ligue 1 single match as well. It's possible I'm missing some of these competitions. There's also the Coppa Italia, which I cannot forget as well. It's going to be a race. So we're on a tight schedule. We want to get something out to all of you. So we'll start in England since that's where the money is. We'll start on the Tuesday match. We have Manchester City, a half of a goal favorite right now with all the juice to Aston Villa. Total is 3, juice all the way to over. So I've been making money hand over fist, like I think a lot of the world, betting against Manchester City this whole season. The news now that Kevin De Bruyne is leaving the club, though he barely played for most of the season. Probably not a huge surprise. I just think there's a lot of flaws in Man City. They're clearly rebuilding and have little to play for besides finding a Champions League spot, which I think they should get just based on how talented they are. But they've been really struggling over the years, this entire season, over this year. And Aston Villa on the other side, they've crashed out of the Champions League, but we're in it longer, in the competition longer than Manchester City were. Plus, I think we've seen just incredible performance. Unai Emery is a great manager, and I think there's no reason but to believe that he will continue doing exactly what he's done there. For that reason, I'm interested in Aston Villa getting the half of a goal on the road. I probably lean to under 3, and it looks like it might get to 3.25 before kickoff, though that's certainly a scary thing to do. A, fading Manchester City at home by playing an underdog. B, fading their offense if you play under. But I think Aston Villa will still be very respectful of Manchester City, though they probably should be fighting for 3 points here rather than trying to get a result away. With that said, I think Aston Villa are a live underdog, certainly. I think a draw is probably more likely than a win and is more likely than feeling strongly about the total. So I'll go Aston Villa, half of a goal underdog is my biggest interest on that Tuesday match for the ultimate best bet portion. I'll combine that with Arsenal and Crystal Palace playing on Wednesday. We have Arsenal, a 1.25 goal favorite at home to Crystal Palace, more juice than Palace away. Totals 2.5. And it's used pretty heavily to over right now. So Crystal Palace, they've played more matches than they're used to, multiple midweek matches, including this one, while Arsenal have been doing it all season. And yes, they did advance in Champions League against Real Madrid, taking a big lead in the first leg off of 2 set-piece goals. I'm not really sure that's something we can expect too much from Declan Rice, but certainly got there. The big question for me is kind of how Arsenal are balancing the load of players. Bukayo Saka has come back recently from injury. I still don't think he's 100%, but is trying to give his soldiers best, or whatever we'd call it. Crystal Palace on the other side, they are trying to climb up the table just like they did end of last season. I really like Oliver Glasner, former manager of Eintracht Frankfurt, VfL Wolfsburg, and other places in the German Bundesliga. But the big question is, can Crystal Palace continue to cope with playing all these extra matches they are not used to and did not play all season? For that reason, I think I'm less interested in the full goal plus a quarter of insurance. At Crystal Palace, certainly a 1-goal loss would definitely play into an under. But with a lot of juice on the over right now, I think we do see this climb to 2.75 before kickoff on Wednesday, the 23rd of April, the year of our Lord 2025. I'll lean to Crystal Palace getting a goal and a quarter, but I think I like the under 2.5 at current price even more. Before I move now to a full slate of the Spanish La Liga, I'll give out a best bet for England. What I do is I smash it all together in a 1-minute video on Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify, the full podcast actually, but on YouTube at @the_Real_G Warner and Instagram at @the_Real_G Warner is where I put this all. We are 41-18, 69% nice this season. I'll go with Crystal Palace under 2.5 as my biggest interest in that. I guess in this abridged version of the English Premier League card on this episode. Now move to a full slate starting on Tuesday, April 22nd for Spanish La Liga, as we do have a Copa del Rey El Clásico this weekend. Valencia hosts Espanyol. Currently Valencia, half a goal favorite at home. Almost all the juice, actually all of it, on Espanyol away. Totals 2.25, juice more to the under slightly. Two teams that I don't really respect offenses too much from. Valencia have been climbing out of the relegation positions. Espanyol have been fighting their way out of it as well. Promoted club Espanyol have been great at home this season, poor on the road, but that's improved. I like Espanyol getting the half of a goal, and I think I like the under 2.25 even more. We'll move next to the nightcap on Tuesday. Barcelona hosting Mallorca. Currently, Barcelona a 1.75 goal favorite with almost all the juice. Total is 3, juice all the way to over. Gigantic total for Mallorca because they are not a team that concede goals or score them really. More issues on the scoring them side, but have been much higher in the Liga table than I think anyone expected this season, despite really not great play. It's really hard to fade by Barcelona right now at this point, especially at home, though I don't know that their home advantage is as worth it as other clubs. I think for my biggest interest in this one, I'll lean to Mallorca under 3 goals. Looks like we'll get to 3.25 before kickoff based on plus odds right now. Don't hate the idea to sell that and just play the under 3, even if 3.25 exists. If you have that option at your sports books, if you don't, feel free to hit me up at @real_G Warner across all social media platforms if you want some referrals to new places to bet. Moving to Wednesday, we'll start with Athletic Club Bilbao hosting Las Palmas. Currently, Athletic Club a 1.25 goal favorite with all the juice. Totals 2.75, juice all the way to under. So Las Palmas, they're in a relegation fight. They have been really one of the worst clubs in La Liga, but stayed off of a great first half last season, lost their manager, and really have kind of played without kind of a sense. Athletic Club are awesome, but have been balancing their run to the Europa League final, which is in their home stadium. Not there yet, but trying to get there, of course. It's a big price for Athletic Club at home, who don't always fire offensively, but have a great home field advantage, all those sort of things. I'll lean to under 2.75 my biggest interest in this one as a way to potentially back Las Palmas, but really just back them to hang in a match and force Athletic Club to really, really score and create to score 3 goals. Move next to Celta de Vigo hosting Villarreal. Currently Celta a pick'em with all the juice. Totals 2.75, juice almost all the way to over. Waiting to see this climb to a quarter goal favorite, but hasn't gotten there yet. So I'll lean to Celta at home as a pick'em. Villarreal have been playing outside of Europe this season and have been, I think, taking a ton of advantage of it, and that's why they're in the Champions League discussion. Celta have been climbing up the table as well, playing really well, despite moving, I think, past Iago Aspas and into the Fer Lopez's and the young talent that they have coming through the system. I think Villarreal are worth a look, especially after closing 3/4 goal favorite to Real Sociedad this weekend. Clearly got a ton of respect from the La Liga market, and I wonder if they will see that again. With that said, if Celta Vigo remain pick'em, I'll lean to that current number. At the pick right now, it's fairly juiced, but it does push if you draw. So that does certainly mean something to me as a home favorite. For the total here, I lean under 2.75. Not a strong lean, and certainly will wait till a 3 appears in that matchup. Moving next to Alaves hosting Real Sociedad. Currently Alaves a quarter goal favorite at home. All the juice on Real Sociedad away. Total is 2, just slightly more to under. Alaves is a home favorite, or just a favorite in general I want to be against. The problem is Real Sociedad have been really, really struggling. And are far lower in the La Liga table, though I don't think their season is by any means close to over if they go on a run, including a win here, and that would put them in good position, potentially climb back into Europe, because I think that's their ultimate goal. I'll lean to Real Sociedad, a quarter goal underdog, and to the under 2 in that matchup. Moving to the last game on the Wednesday card, that's Getafe hosting Real Madrid. Currently Getafe 3/4 goal underdogs at home with all the juice. Totals 2.5, juice all the way to under. So Getafe, great defense. They are really, really goal shy, but they get a Real Madrid side that are certainly fighting for La Liga and will be going all out for this, but have been playing so poorly all season, really struggled away from home. And honestly, they have a huge, huge look ahead to Barcelona in El Clásico, especially after being embarrassed twice so far this season. I think Getafe is the only way I could look, of course, as anyone who listens to this podcast would be not surprised by that. Like 3/4, would love to get a full goal of insurance, so the juice does not certainly point that way. And I think if you like Getafe, you like under 2.5 in that matchup as well. 4 matches, on Thursday, and then we'll get to the next league that we're covering. Osasuna, they're quarter goal favorites to Sevilla. All the juice in Sevilla away, totals 2.25, juice all the way to under. Osasuna at home, El Sadar are great, but they are really tough to trust to score goals. I think Sevilla, as a very juiced road underdog, is my interest for right now. We know they're going to control the ball. It's not been a great season for them. It might be a little bit too pricey for me right now, but I'll lean to under 2.25 as a much stronger lean. Leganés then hosts Girona. Currently, Leganés a pick'em, more juice on the Girona away. Totals 2.25, juice all the way to under. And this is a big spot for Leganés to try to stay in La Liga. Promoted club from Segunda División up to Primera, and they have really struggled to score goals this whole season. Pick them at home is a lot to ask, I think, for a team that can't score, but I don't really trust Girona either. So I'll lean to that Leganés under 2.25 is my biggest interest in that matchup. We'll move next to Real Valladolid traveling to Real Betis in Sevilla, the Benito Villamarin, which I've been to, and I actually got a cigarette thrown at me way back when. But Real Betis, 2-goal favorites at home. Almost all the juice on Real Valladolid. Totals 3.25, juice all the way to under. Real Betis are awesome. They've been playing so well this season. Manuel Pellegrini, their manager, has balanced Conference League every single season. I think they'd like to be higher in the table, and they're certainly fighting for that. They get a Real Valladolid club who are going down to the Segunda División. It's already been known. They basically didn't even hire a new manager, didn't want to pay him. Instead, is I think paying the youth coach to do double duty during the week. I'm not sure that's really showed because they've had so little talent compared to the rest of their opponents in La Liga. Not a lot for me to do here. Real Betis can certainly score goals. I think if anything, I'll lean to a total in La Liga above 3. So I'll go under 3.25, though it's not a strong lean based on the Real Valladolid defense. I don't think they'll score, but that does mean if they get blown out, the defense just really craters late. Last but not least, Atletico Madrid hosting Rayo Vallecano. Currently Atleti a 1-goal favorite with more juice. Totals 2.25, juice all the way to over. Rayo are going to go in, try to defend like crazy, like mad. Atletico Madrid, I think the depth is really told for them after an incredibly impossible schedule, including Real Madrid in Champions League, Barcelona in Copa del Rey, multiple legs there, plus a race at the top of La Liga as well. I think Rayo are in great position to play great defense, go on the road to Atleti. I think I'm less interested in probably the +1 on Rayo than I am in the under 2.25, which might be 2.5 before kickoff on Thursday. But there is some value there, I think, on the road underdog and playing against Atletico Madrid at this point. So I'll lean that way. For my best bet in the Spanish La Liga, I'll go under 2.5. Getafe hosting Real Madrid, and that is a Wednesday matchup in that one. So we'll move next to Serie A, as we have a bunch of matches that were postponed due to the death of Pope Francis. I don't have lines for all of them. For some reason, no Juventus line yet at BetOnline, but I will use what we had in, I guess, going into Monday due to the Easter weekend. Nice of the big guy to make it through to past Easter, I guess, or at least died on Easter. Pretty holy if you asked me. I'll start with that match because I got to then circle back to what's live in front of my screen. Parma, 3/4 goal underdog at home to Juventus. Total is 2.5. And last I looked, there's a lot more juice on Parma and to the under, though that under had been starting to get bet. At the over had been getting bet, so that under was getting cheaper. Don't really trust Juventus offense. Yes, a manager change has looked like it helped, but still not really a believer. Parma have had a manager change themselves. Seems like 2 managers like a minimum across the European soccer leagues at this point. I think I'm certainly interested in the home underdog getting 3/4 of goal. Would love to get a full goal of insurance. I'm not sure we will, but I'll lean to under 2.5 in that Parma match. It looks like we have a huge slate. All matches starting at the same time, I believe, because Coppa Italia starts is the nightcap. Which I'll get to in a second, but we'll start with Cagliari. They're 1/4 goal underdogs at home with all the juice to Fiorentina. Totals 2.25, juiced more to the under. And unfortunately for Cagliari, this is a great position for them to catch Fiorentina coming off of the second leg of a Conference League match. And now I think Fiorentina are going to be about full strength. They already had an extra day playing on Monday. Now it's Wednesday. So they basically had a week. So that certainly limits my interest in Cagliari. I still like the home underdog, and I still lean to under 2.25. But I'm going to have to do a lot more thinking, I think, before kickoff on Wednesday. Torino then hosts Udinese. Formerly was going to be the early 5:30 a.m. Central Time start. I guess thank you for not making that way now, so I can actually look at lineups. But Torino, 1/4 goal favorites at home. All the juice on Udinese away. Total is 2, just all the way to over. Torino are... I think they've been playing well. Udinese, it's really just to me about if they can get Florian Thauvin in their lineup on match day, because he's awesome. Every giornata that involves Florian Thauvin certainly makes Udinese a lot more threatening. I'll lean to that under dog away from home. Udinese getting a quarter of a goal. I'll lean to under 2 as well. To the last on Wednesday before we get to Coppa Italia, we have Genoa, a quarter goal underdog at home to Lazio. More juice on Genoa. Total is 2.25. Juice all the way to under. Lazio coming off of their Europa League, but they get extra days. So the Genoa benefit here is certainly lessened. I do like them at home. They really struggle to score goals, but Lazio have not been playing very well after starting the season off, and including Europa League, and just really dominating every competition and then kind of running out of gas. With that said, I'll lean to under 2.25 as a big interest for me, and to Genoa getting a quarter of a goal as a way to fade Lazio, though certainly it's not about legs advantage anymore. For my best bet in Italy, which I guess I'll do Serie A and Coppa Italia because they are different. No, they're two competitions, and we don't have the German Bundesliga on this one, so I think that's useful. I will go with Genoa under 2.25 goals, as I think there's going to be a really, really tough time scoring in that matchup. So now we have a couple matches left to go in Coppa Italia and one in Liga, and then we'll get out of here. Starting on Wednesday, we have Inter Milan, half a goal favorites at home in their shared stadium to Milan, their city rivals. Totals 2.5 of this one, juice all the way to over. A lot more juice on the Milan side. So Milan have done, and I say AC Milan, I probably should specify, they've done a lot better against Inter this season. I think I've covered the spread in all 3 matches. League and Serie A, they won. Saved Paulo Fonseca's job way many jobs ago, that even just this season. Then they drew in the first leg 1-1 in Coppa Italia, hit the under. Nice job. Good work, me. And then they also won in the Super Coppa Italiana in Riyadh, or in some Saudi Arabian oil money country. Now they get another matchup. Inter certainly are looking to win this one, but it's really hard to say after they've been unable to do it 3 separate times. Right? 3 separate times. Yeah, 3 separate times. Then I'm still interested in Milan here. I'll lean to the half of a goal. But biggest interest for me is under 2.5, as I just don't think it's going to be much scoring. It's going to be a really, really tight second leg of a Coppa Italia semifinal. And that, I think, plays very well for low scoring matches, especially wanting to trust the Inter defense. As for 2 advanced numbers, we do have that. So Inter minus 200, 1-2 odds, 2-1 on, plus 160 for Milan. So 100 US will win you 160. In terms of where this number has moved, not as much as you'd think. It's actually come in quite a bit. So Inter were initially minus 255 to Milan's 2-1 odds. That's come down to Inter minus 200 to the plus 160 on Milan. So just to give an idea, sorry, I did some math because I didn't have this done initially. That's not right. Okay. So we're down 25% on the Milan side, 27.5% on Inter. So certainly prices improved on Inter if you're interested there. I think they're the better club, but I'm not sure I want to take them to advance. Last in the Coppa Italia, we'll go Bologna 1 goal favorites at home with all the juice to Empoli. Totals 2.25. Juice pretty heavily to over. So Empoli got smashed in the first leg, and that's why there's no to advance number here. I don't know what Empoli, because they clearly have so much more to worry about in the league. So this should probably be a walkover for Bologna, and probably is one that I just don't even have something to be interested in, because I think I'm going to skip this one altogether. For a best bet from the Coppa Italia, I will go with under 2.5 Inter Milan and Milan. Looks like we might even get 2 3/4, and I'll certainly wait out for that, as there's additional protection if it lands 3 in that type of Asian handicap. Last but not least, we'll go to Ligue 1 in France, and one match there. And then I don't really know why this match is being played, but Nantes are hosting PSG. Currently, Nantes 1.25 goal underdogs at home to PSG with all the juice. Totals 3.25. Juice pretty heavily to under. Nantes are going to try their best to defend PSG. PSG have been really, really good against the top of Liga. Not as strong against the bottom or mid-tables or whatever Nantes call themselves. Relegation fighter, I think, every season. I'll lean to the home underdog, getting the goal in a quarter. Surprising to no one, I'm sure, and lean to under 3.25. But it's really tough for me to want to go against PSG at this point. They're so good offensively, and if they show up, they will probably win this match substantially. So that's a difficult But that is the quick and dirty run through of the midweek matches on the Bet in the Pitch podcast. And I will get to the ultimate best bet. We do have a pregame.com podcast out there on Major League Baseball for today, April 22nd. That's out there with Munaf Manji at Sportsbetting.ag. Still trying to wrangle up at A Brooks Bets. If you want to slide in his DMs and demand he come back to the Bet in the Pitch podcast network as a baseball handicapper, that would certainly be helpful at A Brooks Bets if you're interested in helping the show. If you want to also help the show, 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify would be huge. Plus hit the subscribe button, as we're now up to 185 followers. So only about 600 million away from seeing ads. So we're going to be ad-less for a long, long time. So don't you worry. I think it's time to get into the ultimate best bet. So let's do it. Hey, this is Real_G Warner on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, and on YouTube. This is the ultimate best bet from the Betting Pitch Soccer podcast. We went through midweek matches, English Premier League, La Liga in Spain, Serie, Coppa Italia, and even a Ligue 1 match midweek, which is so rare to see. I smash them all together for my ultimate best bet. We're 41-18, 69% nice all season. And for the best bets on this episode, we went Premier League, Crystal Palace under 2.5 goals, La Liga in Spain, Getafe under 2.5, Serie A, Genoa under 2.25. Coppa Italia went Milan under 2.5, and in Liga in France, we went with Nantes under 3.25 goals. So a lot of unders, not a surprise. Check out patreon.com/Real_G Warner for plays across all sports, including baseball, recently started season, the NHL. Hopefully we can hold on to 5 games in the future. And for the ultimate best bet in this episode, let's go Coppa Italia, second leg, semifinal. Milan and Inter will go under 2.5 goals, as we expect a very, very low scoring and tight matchup there. And that'll do it for this episode. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll be back on the next episode, coming likely for Friday for the weekend card. We do have F1 on this channel, plus baseball. Hopefully, A Brooks Bets, see if we can get him in the crosshairs for tonight. Thank you all. Talk to you soon. And hit me on Twitter at @the Real_G Warner if you have any feedback.
Recording stopped.